Definition of Bhakti, Part 2. There is a little difference in opinion between the teachers of knowledge and those of love, though both admit the power of Bhakti. The Jananis hold Bhakti to be an instrument of liberation. The Bhaktas look upon it both as an instrument and the thing to be attained. To my mind, this is a distinction without much difference. In fact, bhakti, when used as an instrument, really means a lower form of worship, and the higher form becomes inseparable from the lower form of realization at a later stage. Each seems to lay a great stress upon his own peculiar method of worship, forgetting that with perfect love, true knowledge is bound to come even unsought, and that from perfect knowledge, true love is inseparable. Bearing this in mind, let us try to understand what the great Vedantic commentators have to say on the subject. In explaining the sutra, Bhagwan Shankara says, "Thus people say he is devoted to the king, he is devoted to the Guru. They say this of him who follows his Guru and does so having that following as one end in view. Similarly, they say the loving wife meditates on her loving husband. Here also a kind of eager and continuous remembrance is meant. This is devotion according to Shankara. Meditation again is a constant remembrance of the thing meditated upon, flowing like an unbroken stream of oil poured out from one vessel to another. When this kind of remembering has been attained in relation to God, all bondages break. Thus, it is spoken of in the scriptures regarding constant remembering as a means of liberation. This remembering again is of the same form as seeing, because it is of the same meaning as in the passage. When he who is far and near is seen, the bonds of the heart are broken, all doubts vanish, and all effects of work disappear. He who is near can be seen, but he who is far can only be remembered. Nevertheless, the scripture says that we have to see him who is near as well as him who is far, thereby indicating to us that the above kind of remembering is as good as seeing. This remembrance, when exalted, assumes the same form as seeing. Worship is constant remembering, as may be seen from from the essential text of scriptures. Knowing, which is the same as repeated worship, has been described as constant remembering. Thus, the memory which has attained to the height of what is as good as direct perception is spoken of in the Shruti as the means of liberation. This Atma is not to be reached through various sciences, nor by intellect, nor by much study of the Vedas. Whomsoever this Atma desires, by him is the Atma attained. Unto him this Atma discovers himself. Here, after saying that mere hearing, thinking, and meditating are not the means of attaining this Atma, it is said, "Whom this Atma desires, by him the Atma is attained." The extremely beloved is desired by whomsoever this Atma is extremely beloved. He becomes the most beloved of the Atma. So that this beloved may attain the Atma, the Lord himself helps. For it has been said by the Lord, "Those who are constantly attached to me and worship me with love, I give that direction to their will by which they come to me." Therefore it is said that whomsoever this remembering, which is of the same form as direct perception, is very dear, because it is dear to the object of such memory perception. He is desired by the Supreme Atma, by him the Supreme Atma is attained. This constant remembrance is denoted by the word bhakti. So says Bhagwan Ramanuj in his commentary on the Sutra Athaho Brahma Jijnasa. In commenting on the Sutra of Patanjali, Ishvara Pranidhanavada, that is, or by the worship of the Supreme Lord, Bhoja says, Pranidhana is that sort of bhakti in which, without seeking results such as sense enjoyment, etc., all works are dedicated to that teachers of teacher. Bhagwan Vyasa also, when commenting on the same, defines pranidhana as the form of bhakti by which the mercy of the Supreme Lord comes to the yogi and blesses him by granting him his desires. According to Shandilya, bhakti is intense love to God. The best definition is, however, that given by the king of Bhaktas, Prahlad, that deathless love which the ignorant have for the fleeting objects of the senses. As I keep meditating on thee, may not that love slip away from my heart. Love for whom? For the Supreme Lord Ishvara. Love for any other being, however great, cannot be bhakti. For as Ramanuj says in his Sri Bhasya, quoting an ancient acharya, that is a great teacher, from Brahma to a clump of grass, all things that live in the world are slaves of birth and death caused by karma. Therefore, they cannot be helpful as objects of meditation because they are all in ignorance and subject to change. In commenting on the word anukrati used by Shandilya, the commentator Swapneshwara says that it means anu after and rakti attachment, that is the attachment which comes after the knowledge of the nature and glory of God, else a blind attachment to anyone, for example the wife or children, would be bhakti. We plainly see therefore that bhakti is a series or succession of mental efforts at religious realization, beginning with ordinary worship and ending in the supreme intensity of love for Ishwar.